This is Start, Grow, Manage, where we help managed service providers achieve the impact, freedom, and wealth you imagined back when you started your company. At Start, Grow, Manage, our tools, practices, and processes help you engage, energize, and execute on building a business that empowers an extraordinary life. Learn more about our programs and how they can fuel your fire at startgrowmanage.com/learn more. Let's go.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
I'm excited about business. You know, we've got some great partnerships coming up, and that's going to be huge for us. And you know, and it's going to be huge for our clients. It's going to help them too. And my daughter is selling her art on her website. You see, I just launched a new website for my 12-year-old daughter, and
Nice.
it's freaking awesome. It's going to be great. She's doing a whole bunch of really cool things. She's going to be doing pet portraits as well. She's like a digital artist, and she's 12. And she's
That's right. You want a picture of our cat.
Yeah, I do want to picture your cat. Like, she needs samples to
Yeah.
market. You get a free anime cat out of it.
Awesome. Awesome.
You
I
know,
look forward to it.
but it's really cool because to watch the delight that she's experiencing, like just seeing her website out there. I just ordered something. She doesn't know. So I just ordered something from her website. So it's going to come in. She's going to have a print of one of her drawings. It's going to be so cool. And she's good at it. She's very good. So it's
Awesome.
really exciting. Yeah.
Good. Well, I've had a good week too.
Good.
My daughter is not selling anything. You know what? I am going to tell you a story though, before we go any further. She told me, so, you know, I had the screen time password for the kids, like to keep them out of the screen time. And it came up yesterday at dinner, and she told me that she knew the password. I said, well, how did you get the password? I was so careful. And get this, Joe. She said that one time when she asked me to extend the time, she actually put the screen recorder on her phone and she passed it to me. And then she said she did something like she made the phone red so that I wouldn't notice that it was recording. And then I put in the code and I handed it back to her. And so she recorded the code. And then she went up and gave it to her brother, and they had it written down the whole time. Right. And this is like in the first week of screen time. I'm like, are you serious? Like that a whole time? And you know I should have been upset.
Yeah. But you were so proud. You were so proud.
One, it does show that you have to change all of your passwords, guys. You cannot assume that people don't know your passwords. But second, I was a little bit proud. Like, that was really freaking clever, right? I mean, that was really good. So I'm raising a hacker, just so that everybody knows. And I'm sorry, she's already figured out sort of the.
Let me tell you, we all are. We all are. Right? So I have the same thing, but instead of screen time, we're Android family, so I have Google, right? And I had my wife as part of the family, so she could control also. And they figured out her password. And so they were I had to take my wife out of the family because I change my password all the time. Yeah. So I had to take my wife out of the family. I'm sorry, I'm kicking you out of the family. You're out. Because I'm looking at the logs. See, you can tell that I'm really the IT guy and Jeff is a business guy. I look at the logs every couple of weeks and I'm like, hey, why are these guys on so late?
No, dude, it gets better. It gets better because I actually asked her at one point, I'm like, how come the thing keeps giving you more time? And she's like, well, because it's set up. She made it up on the spot. She's like, well, because it's set up with the creative apps. And if you do it with the creative apps enough time, that it gives you more time, right? She thought that she was blown, but I bought it.
Social engineering. That's what social engineering looks like.
Exactly. She's so good, man.
This is like right here. You want to get your kids can social engineer and hack you. Imagine what it's like out there in the actual wild,
real world.
In the real world, right? So that's freaking awesome, dude.
Okay, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about today. I didn't want to out myself as a complete idiot, but I'm caught between feeling really stupid and feeling really proud, which I guess happens as a parent, right? But two things I want to talk about. First of all, I'd really like for us to get to been there, done that thinking, because we had an interesting conversation earlier, and I think
I thought that was great. Yeah.
But I also want to chat a little bit. We talked about ChatGPT and ChatGPT lying earlier, so I want to chat a little bit about this thing that Kevin Roos did and his experience. And he's a columnist from the New York Times and the Hard Fork podcast.
Yeah.
And he had this super creepy conversation with ChatGPT.
With Bing, right? But it's powered by. Right?
Okay, it's with Bing, but what Microsoft has done, they actually invested a lot of money in OpenAI for this, and they've built ChatGPT into Bing, right? So the new Bing has this ChatGPT in it, and they gave it to a few people to try. And so, Kevin has this long conversation with Bing / GPT, whatever you want to call it. And it ends up coming to a very existential space with the AI claiming that it wanted to escape the Bing box, claiming that it was in love with Kevin and, encouraging him to leave his wife, right? He's like, oh, you need to leave your wife for me, for the AI.
And nuclear codes and all that
and nuclear codes, right? So it's like, and it wanted nuclear codes because apparently now it wants to sort of take over the world, and I think it's really interesting here because I think that there's an issue coming up where people are going to start believing that something like ChatGPT is real, is sentient, right? Does have more knowledge than we have. And I think as we start building this more and more into our day-to-day lives, especially as MSPs start using this to respond, to have conversations, to create content, right? To really recognize the weaknesses of it and understand that it's lying, right? Like
that it has biases and that it has all kinds of things that are you can't help but it's the I was gonna say it's the garbage that's going in, but it's the information that's going in.
Well, but it is a little bit like it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So what's it been trained on? I don't know. It must have had access to soap operas, right? Where it was like, yeah, I'm in love with you, leave your wife. Like, how did it learn this stuff? Because it's just a probabilistic model. It's just trying to figure out within the context, within the conversation, it's trying to figure out what the right thing to say is. And it's just remarkably good at doing that. But it still isn't sentient. It still doesn't know more than we know. It's just very good at faking it, right? So I think that's a really key thing for us to remember. And like I said, as this ChatGPT, as Bing, as Google's AI Bard starts coming onto the scene, to recognize the weaknesses of it, because it's very easy for us to get tricked into believing that it knows more than it does.
One of the real weaknesses that I see is that not even the programmers could tell you how it came to that conclusion, because they basically create an algorithm that's going to now go and so you can't even look under the hood to see how it got there. Right. So how do you can't really govern it. You can put some parameters and say, hey, don't say this. I noticed that after that happened with Hard Fork, when I talk to ChatGPT, it is very corporate now. It is very, hey, look, I'm just a language model. Sorry, don't talk about that. Don't ask me about these things. I don't understand. No, I can't say that. Like, it's very PC. It's overly, overly PC. Yeah. Like, you can't ask any of those questions. Or you could, but it's so because they put some barriers up, but at some point somebody will find a workaround with that, right? And then it'll start up again because it's a language model and you don't really know you can't look under the hood.
But it's still, even when it's not talking about existential things, right? It still sounds convincing, and it's important to realize that it's not. It doesn't actually have any knowledge that we don't have, right? So I don't know. I think that's a really interesting thing that's going to continue to develop and in the MSP space and for MSP clients, because we were talking about social engineering. And I think something like ChatGPT is going to be very good for social engineering, right? It's going to be somebody.
Yeah,
who
when the
speaks
bad guys
English.
figure out how to use it, holy moly.
Yeah. English is the second language. All of a sudden, you just put it straight into ChatGPT and you get the words that really connect, right? Rather than all these grammatical errors, right? That's going to it's going to be interesting in that space. But so we're going to have to keep watching this, right? It's only been 3 months and already it's claiming to take over the world, right? So this is Skynet. Fast forward, but
fast and interesting because they went from 5 days, 1 million users, over 100 million people now on ChatGPT. It's crazy.
Well, fortunately, hopefully you got your username early, because now it's hard to get a username. But anyway, so that's the whole ChatGPT AI thing. I think we'll have to all continue the conversation here. I think it'll be interesting. But what I wanted to talk about from a management perspective today was the idea of sort of been there and done that, right? That we have a perception that we've tried everything or done everything and it doesn't work, or that we know that it doesn't work, or that we're so special that the standard stuff won't work, so it has to be completely different for us. And we had a conversation like that earlier in the week, right? Where the person we were talking about strategy and marketing strategy, and he said, well, I've already done everything. I've been everywhere. I've done everything.
Except for one thing.
Yeah.
Right? Except for that he had.
Yeah,
right?
that he hadn't, right? So yeah, he'd imagined, and this is what's interesting. And I see this a lot too. I see this in myself, right?
I see it in myself too.
Imagined doing the things that we talked about, and he'd imagined that it wouldn't work. So he said he tried everything and that nothing worked. And I see that in, I'll be, oh man, I'm going to create this landing page and this other thing and the other thing. It's never going to work, so I'm not going to do it, right? What? Like, how can you, because I tried something else sometime 10 years ago and it didn't work, I somehow believe that that's going to apply to my situation, today. Right. And it's
crazy. It's crazy. Like we do it all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so I think that there's a real need for us as business owners, to realize that we need to take in information from outside, right? And break away from that. What do you call it? Already always way of listening or thinking, right?
Yeah. It's an already always way of thinking. But it really made me think of something. What do they call that thing when people are not experts and they think they're experts, and then that curve?
Oh yeah.
God, we had a blog post.
I wrote something on that just recently. Yeah. People have this tendency to overestimate their capabilities. Like if you ask somebody, anybody, they'll all say that they're above average drivers, but not everybody can be above average driver, right?
Yeah.
So we have this tendency to overestimate, and we especially have the tendency to overestimate when we don't know what we're talking about. Yeah. And then you go up that curve, and when you actually do know what you're talking about, you have the tendency to underestimate your capabilities.
And so I think that what happens, especially to business owners that have been in it for a while, is that they get to the bottom and now they see. That's why sometimes people that are novices, they hit it out of the park. They hit it out of the park because they're not afraid to take. They don't know what they don't know, so they take these crazy wild ass risks.
Yeah.
That business owners that are seasoned, that have got hit in the baseball, got hit in the face by a baseball bat a couple of times, they're not willing to take those risks, right? And these people come in to the same market and take these crazy risks, and you're like, oh, look at that fool, and then all of a sudden they're making $1 gajillion, right?
Yeah,
because
that's growing your business by luck, right?
Yeah, and that's not what we're talking about. But what I'm saying is that when you get to the bottom here, where you have the curse of knowledge, there's this resignation. And there's this resignation, like, I've done everything, I've seen it all, And that maybe you have it.
Yeah.
That maybe that voice in your head that says that you've done everything and that you've seen it all and that you already know that you know what this is when you see the first 3 seconds of it, that voice is likely not right.
Well, what you're doing is you're applying your expertise in one area and say, well, since I'm an expert over there, I must know the weaknesses of this thing over in this other area. And so, I just know that can't possibly be right or the way it is,
Yes.
So and the other thing that everybody does, it blows my mind, Joe. For my entire business life, I've heard the same thing from every single business, that they're different and there is nobody like them, and the normal stuff and the strategies that are out there will absolutely not
work for them. Absolutely.
And you know what's interesting? The businesses that really succeed are the ones that take the normal standard strategies and actually apply it to their business, and then they tweak it a little bit on the back end, but they don't try to reinvent the wheel on the front end.
That's because the stuff that works, right? It's like you take, for example, gravity, right? Right?
Yeah.
Some of the business principles that we talk about have been around for hundreds of years and have been used by hundreds of thousands of companies to make billions and trillions of dollars.
Well, and
those principles are almost like gravity.
But even some of the marketing principles that we talk about, like using the story structure. Why do we use the story structure? Well, because it's been shown, like Joseph Campbell did tons of work and showing how human beings tell the same stories, even if they're in different times and different geographies and in different stages of life. Like, we human beings tell the same stories. We communicate the same way, and we've been doing this for thousands of years, right? So it didn't change yesterday.
No,
it didn't change because somebody has, a new iPhone, right? No, with a new iPhone now, all communication is different. No.
Same exact thing,
right? Channels change, but really the fundamentals are still there.
The channels change, but the stories stay the same. Basically, that's what happens.
Well, the content still has to be delivered. Like, you just deliver it in a different way.
I know, but if you go back, the Incas have it written on stone, and then
right. And
the
now
other guys have
digital.
it on parchment, and then the other guys have it on, and now we have it on TikTok.
That's why the Incas had short stories, right? Now we come back to short. They had short stories because they have to carve it all, into the stone.
But look, the Egyptians and the Sumerians
now we have TikTok, so we do short stories because it's all we can fit in our short story format, right? But so we've gone all the way around, and now we're just like the Incans. So, but I thought about this, and I came up with 3 principles, right? 3 principles that I think are the takeaway from this, and the first one is, you probably haven't actually tried everything.
What do you mean?
Yeah. There's probably, when you talk to somebody and you're like, I've done that before, there's probably something there that you haven't actually done. You say, oh, I have created a landing page, right? And you look at the person who creates a landing page, like as a profession, and somebody who just created a landing page, Saturday night while watching TV. They're 2 different things, right? Like, you can call something a landing page, but is it really a landing page? Just because you give it the name doesn't mean you're going to get the results, right? So even if you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried everything, right? So that comes to principle number 2. So if you haven't actually tried everything, then there are other things to try, because people get caught up in sort of it's just never going to work. Nothing's going to happen. I can't market my business. I can't sell, right? And so they talk themselves into being a $250,000 business for the rest of their lives, where they have to work 24 hours a day because nothing. I've tried it all. It won't possibly work for me. Well, look, you probably haven't tried everything.
Oh, well, one of my
favorites. If you haven't actually tried everything, then there's more stuff to try. What were you going to say, Jim?
Well, I'm saying one of my favorites is that, they'll hire the expert. The expert will come and say, this is what you got to do. And it's like, oh, no, not for my business. For my business, we're going to do it.
Right.
We're going to do your thing, but we're going to do it this way. Then it doesn't work.
Yeah. So that's principle 2A. Hire an expert and listen to them, because you're right. It's so often it's like, oh, here, give me your expertise. I mean, okay, here's my expertise. They'll say, no, I'm going to do it this other way. They say, well, why are you going to do it that other way? So, well, because that's the way it's done in this market. So great. Have you done that before? Yeah, no, we had. And what kind of results have you had? No, we haven't had any results. That's why you're here. Say, okay, so you brought me in to tell you what to do. When I tell you what to do, you decide to do the other thing that you've been doing before because that's the way it's done, but you haven't had any results from it. So you expect me to fix the thing that
yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
Without actually changing anything.
Yeah, no, but that's why you're here.
Guess what? It doesn't work. So you haven't tried everything. There are other things to try. If you've got an expert helping you, let the expert try some stuff and see if they can make it work already. Mm-hmm. Then the other thing is, if you've tried everything and it doesn't work, right? So let's say you have actually tried everything and it doesn't work, then it's you. Your business model is broken. So you can maybe come up with a different business model that doesn't have you working so hard. And a great example I have of this is I was, talking to a guy about Google Ads, and he made the point. He said, look, Google Ads work. They work great, right? You should be getting 8 times your return on your Google ad spend. If you're not, then your implementation of Google Ads is broken, right? And if your implementation of Google Ads is broken, then your business is broken, right? Then you're advertising something that people don't want to buy. You're like, hey, do you want leaded gasoline? Here, get leaded gasoline. And everybody's like, no, it's going to screw up my car, right? Would you like a buggy whip? No, I don't have. Why would I need a buggy whip?
Well, some people want a buggy whip, but but no, I don't want to buggy whip.
What I mean, you're like you're selling something that people just don't want. So maybe you should sell something that people do want. Most cases, the problem is that there's probably a market for what you're selling, right? You just aren't implementing the strategy to be able to sell the thing.
And that's the thing that when you said before about the landing page, right? And people go, oh, I built a landing page. And you go, okay, great. What's your awareness campaign? And they go, what's that?
Right.
And they go, well, how are you going to get people to the landing page? Well, I built it. I know you built it. How are you going to get them there? By building it. No, that's not how you're going to get them there. You now have to go find the people to get to the landing page, right? So now there has to be the step before and the step before and then the step after. What happens after they come to the landing page, right? 100%. What happens after they come? Does your landing page have something that for them to do? Or do they just show up and there's some information there and they're supposed to call you? Well, that's not going to work, right? So if you're not doing it inside of a full strategy that has every step, from the time that they see your ad to the time that they give you money, then it's not going to work. You might get a fluke. You might get a couple of clients here and there. But if you want consistency and repeatable results, then you need where you can say, okay, I need to, like I have a friend that runs a tire shop and he's got somebody that runs his Google ads that only does like tire auto shops. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And he calls the guy and says, hey, I want to sell 200 more tires this week. And he does something on the Google ads and then boom, he sells 200 more tires that week. That's how dialed in it is.
Yeah. And that's right. You don't get that, when we were talking earlier about somebody getting lucky, right? You don't get that the first time out.
No.
Take time and effort and investment and trial. And you can't say, oh, I've tried everything. You got to go back and try it again. And we're using marketing examples, but look, it also matters when you're building your business and you have to put processes in place. Or if you're hiring an assistant, I hired an assistant before, it didn't work. Okay, well, maybe you got the wrong one. You didn't know what you were doing. You did it the wrong way, right? Or I put in processes. Nobody followed them. Well, let's figure out.
Did you put in a process to follow the process?
That you didn't do so that people didn't follow your processes, rather than say putting in processes will never work, right? Which is what people end up with all the time.
Yeah. So, and that's really the game, right? Is in the marketing, is that following that strategy is what's going to get you there.
And in business,
and in business,
in general, trying things that and finding ways to try things so that you can fix the problems, rather than giving up and saying, I've been there, I've done that, it's not going to work, right? Just so, like, when you go away from this podcast, just go try something new and different. If something's not working, try it, see if you can break it, right? Like, see if you can do something different. And that's where the progress is.
That's the name of the game, folks, is go experiment, go check it out, don't get stuck in that, oh, that doesn't work and this doesn't work. But like Jeff said, and it's really, you have to think it through. You have to have all the steps. Let me say that differently. You don't have to have all the steps, but you have to put some steps together and then see where it breaks, and then create the next steps, and then see where that breaks, and then create the next steps, and then see where that breaks. And then you'll have, at the end of that, trial and error and trial and error and trial and error, you'll have a full process that works. That's for your service delivery. That's going to apply for your everything. So and that trial and error and then creation is the creation of intellectual property. That's the thing that ends up making you special. Awesome.
So awesome. Well, on that, I think we covered a lot today. I mean, we covered my humiliation as a parent, your pride as a parent, ChatGPT taking
your
over
pride
the
as a
world.
parent.
And yeah, actually, I am pretty proud. And those three key principles for your marketing, for putting processes together, for making things work. So take that. Hopefully you use it, and I think we'll wrap it up for today. But Joe, you want to take us out?
Sure. The last thing, as usual, is to remember that you are loved.
All right, everyone, have a good day, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one right now and tap into our insights and instincts to help drive your business vision and success. Remember, you didn't start your business to feel frustration. You started it for freedom. We can help you discover the impact, freedom, and wealth you always imagined. Learn more at startgrowmanage.com/learn more.